wake you up. We are opening our service this morning with the words of Anais Nin. Absolutely. We are opening our service this morning with the words of Anais Nin. Each friend represents a world in us, a world possibly not born until they arrive. And it is only by this meeting that a new world is born. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berkeley. I'm Andrea Brown, my pronouns are they, them, and I'll be your worship associate here today. This is a welcoming congregation, and we are always working on how to better welcome and care for one another. If this is your first time here, we are so glad you are joining us. And whoever you are, we welcome you in the fullness of who you are. As we begin, we acknowledge that this church occupies land in Huchen, the unceded territory of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people. We know that we continue to benefit from the seizure and occupation of this land. We acknowledge and embrace our responsibility to take restorative action. We affirm that this is deeply felt and commit our congregation to be in right relationship with Indigenous communities, aligning in solidarity, and caring properly for the land. This morning, I would like to welcome Reverend Joy Atkinson to our chancel. Reverend Joy retired in 2018 after 41 years as a UU parish minister. She is the Minister Emerita of the Unitarian Universalist the Unitarian Universalist of San Mateo, having served that congregation for over 14 years. Reverend Joy lives in Berkeley and enjoys writing, amateur astrology, astronomy, and singing in the Oakland Symphony Chorus and the Contra Costa Choral. We will light, so this morning, let us kindle our chalice flame with the words of Samuel Taylor Coleridge. Love is flower-like. Friendship is like a sheltering tree. We also pause to remind ourselves of the foundations of living well together. With reverent joy, we light a candle of courage, a candle of acts of service, a candle of fellowship, and a candle of hope. May we find and cultivate these foundations in ourselves and one another. Now, please rise if you're willing and able, and join me in singing our opening song, Come Sing a Song With Me. It is 346 in the gray hymnal, and the words will be on screen. Please join with me in saying our covenant. Love guides this church. The quest for truth and justice is its common purpose. To give thanks, listen deeply, speak with care, honor our differences, and seek and grant forgiveness. These things we covenant with one another.
To invite anyone up, young people, older people, small people, large people, come on up for our story this morning. I've got a book with some beautiful illustrations in it. The title of this story is called Nonsense. It's by Sally Kaler Phillips. All right. So, what would you say if dogs grew on trees, if rhinos could fly, and chickens laid cheese? What would you say to a bat with a hat? What would you say about that? Nonsense, you'd say. It's an excellent word when you know something's really absurd. What would you say if mice lived on stars, if rabbits read books, and birds played guitars? And what would you say if a goldfish grew peas? What would your answer be, please? What would it be? Nonsense. Oh, come on, you can do better than that. What would it be? Nonsense. Nonsense, you'd say. It's a good word to know when you're sure something just isn't so. What would you say if pigs could sew quilts, if turtles gave teas, and fish walked on stilts? And what would you say to a camel in snow? What would you say? Do you know? Nonsense. Everybody, nonsense. Now I believe you all. Nonsense, you'd say. It's the word to declare when you know something's false or unfair. Will you sniffle and sigh and assume that they're right? Whoops, I think I skipped a page. This is an important part of this story. And what will you say if ever you're told that you're not good enough, or you're dim, or too bold, or you're not very special, you're strange or too shy? What will you say in reply? Will you sniffle and sigh and assume that they're right? Will you kick? Will you cry? And perhaps pick a fight? Of course not. Instead, you'll know just what to do when you hear something truly untrue. You got it. Nonsense. Nonsense, you'll say. Shout it loud, shout it far. Only you can decide who you are. That's our story for this morning. We now enter a time in our service to be together in silence. We have brought to this loving community the joys, the sorrows, the concerns, and the challenges that we hold in our hearts. During this time of silence, I invite you to share any joys, sorrows, concerns, or milestones aloud or in the comments. Let us hold what has been shared in the caring embrace of this community. For those concerns expressed and kept within our hearts, we are mindful that this is a community in which to share these thoughts and feelings with one another. I would like to offer you for your meditation this morning what amounts to a medley of quotes on friendship from here, there, and everywhere. So what I'd like to do, each is a very short quote. I would like to just read the quote, then speak the name of the author, and then pause just for a moment before going to the next quote. This first is from Ralph Waldo Emerson. The only way to have a friend is to be one. The best time to make friends is before you need them. Ethel Barrymore. It is said that love is blind. Friendship, on the other hand, is clairvoyant. Philip Supalt. Sooner or later, you've heard all your best friends have to say. Then comes the tolerance of real love. Ned Rorem. Friendship is born at that moment when one person says to another, "What? You too? I thought I was the only one." C.S. Lewis. There is nothing better than a friend, unless it is a friend with chocolate. Linda Grayson. Finally, the words of Charlie Brown, I need all the friends I can get.
Today is my last day as worship associate. I have been so honored to stand before you. Doing this has been incredibly meaningful for me. It's pushed me to explore and examine my theology, but it's also been this wonderful path of sharing and connection with all of you here at UUCB. And I appreciate not just the moment when I stand here in front of you, but how so many of you have welcomed me so openly. So many of you have shared your thoughts about what I've said. And there have been so many wonderfully kind and connecting words. And I am so grateful for that. But I've messed up too. And you've told me this. And you know what? I'm really grateful for that as well. I'm grateful because I have a confession. I am a bad friend. I love and care for so many people, including so many here at UUCB, but I'm a bad friend because I treat my friends the way that I treat my siblings. I love them. I think about them often. I'm happy to reach out. I'm happy to talk. If they ask for something, I try to say yes, but where I fail is in the reaching out. We sometimes go years without talking. And what I'm bad at is the work of maintaining the bonds, that is the vital, often unacknowledged work of friendship and of communities. Writer Miriam Foster talks about what she calls the white social contract, where the majority of white people are taught the way to acceptance is to meet the standards of the social club that they are in. Like a sports team, the more you perform the ideals of the club, the more you buy in, the more acceptance you get, which grants you social power and protection from criticism. This is why, according to Foster, many white people run into problems when they try to do social justice work. They ask for a list of the right way to behave, the right way to perform. Tell me what to do, just let me know and I'll do the thing, is a common cry. Teach me how to join the club. Teach me how to score the points correctly so I get the starting position and the power that I want. It doesn't work because building a just world is not a game. A while back, in a very, very different setting, someone wrote to me telling me how my inaction in the face of an injustice had hurt them. I felt this intense moment of shame. They were right. I had failed them. And I had to take a deep breath and deal with my fear of rejection, my fear of being not good enough. But after that breath, I was left with an immense feeling of gratitude. Because I know how easy it is to drift away. Their criticism was an act of reaching out. I wrote them back, and I thanked them for what they told me. And then I took action to address what had happened. Our relationships are sustained in communities, not social clubs. When someone reaches out and says, "Hey, not cool," that's an act of friendship, of relationship, of community. And when one of us falters, like me and my not reaching out to people, we support each other. Like my partner supports me by doing the work of maintaining those social bonds and connecting, so I still have friends. And so do so many of you. And so, as I leave this role, I want to say thank you for being here, for supporting me, for teaching me so much in so many ways. We are not a club. We are a people committed to each other, sharing our joys, our sorrows, and yes, our criticisms. Because as we gather and build these bonds of community, we are so much more than any single one of us. Blessed be and amen.
Well, certainly by now, I had hoped, and probably many of you had hoped, that we could say that the pandemic is over. But unfortunately, we're still experiencing it. and we may yet experience it for a long time more. Now, of course, the pandemic has been largely a bad experience for most of us, but there have been some positive results. And among them, I would say, is the awareness of how important friends are in our lives. As a result of being largely cooped up at home and isolated, at least at times during the past 2.5 years or so, people have begun to reconnect with friends that they may have fallen out of touch with. I have reconnected with some friends from long ago and far away, and we used modern technology like Zoom to be our medium of communication and connection. This has been a blessing. As I look back over other times that I have lived through, what I most vividly recall is the friends that I've had in each segment of my life. As is true of most of us, my friendships have been of varying intensities. There was one particular group of friends that was especially important and intimate. We were all undergraduates at Hunter College in New York City during the turbulent mid to late 60s. There was a handful of friends in our close circle, and we spent a great deal of time together. We would talk and laugh well into the night. I sometimes wonder how it is that we found each other, and what the unique glue was which bound us together during those challenging years. And that is one of the special aspects of friendship. Theologian and sociologist Martin Marty says, "The chemistry of friendship, at least at the point of birth, is a mystery. As the saying goes, people do not make friends, they recognize them." We somehow recognized each other back then as kindred spirits. Partly because of the magic of that special circle of friends, I have come to consider friendship as a spiritual phenomenon. I would not go as far as 19th century transcendentalist Bronson Alcott, who said that friendship is the only religion possible to moderns. But I would agree with his friend Ralph Waldo Emerson that, as Emerson put it, friendship demands a religious treatment. In pointing to the spiritual character of friendship, C.S. Lewis said, "Friendship is unnecessary, like philosophy, like art. It has no survival value. Rather, it is one of those things that give value to survival." Well, through various studies and surveys, psychologists have discovered that friendship is actually something that can prolong survival. A study conducted in California involving 7,000 adults between the ages of 30 and 59 revealed a strong correlation between social connectedness and length of life. Good social support by friends and relatives seemed to help protect people from such problems as heart and circulatory diseases. Another study of an elderly group found that people with a close friend were less prone to psychological problems and depression. Still another showed that women who have an intimate and confiding relationship had a significantly lower incidence of depression. The Old Testament sums it up nicely. A faithful friend is the medicine of life. Of course, we don't usually decide to become friends with someone because it is good for our mental and physical health. At least, mostly we don't do that consciously. We do it because we are social beings, because we are somehow inexplicably drawn to certain people, because we want to love and be loved, because many of us feel a need for at least one person with whom we can share joys and sorrows, as well as our best and our worst selves. A good friendship offers so much: companionship for our favorite activities, a confidant, someone to lean on in difficult times, someone to care for in return, someone to try out ideas on, or to get honest feedback from. One good friend may help see us through the ups and downs of any number of romantic relationships. And it is those romantic relationships that are also friendships that are the richest and the most enduring. The words of a wedding ceremony that I have often used speak of the essence of the marriage commitment as the willingness to take the other person in that person's entirety, as lover, as companion, and as friend. In some cases of romantic relationships, perhaps you've experienced this, the friendship part may turn out to be the more durable. Romance can fade, but sometimes, if we're lucky, the lover turns into a lifelong friend instead. The poet Byron said, "Friendship is love without wings." Maybe so, but love without wings at least has 2 feet planted firmly on the ground. Friendship is a valuable source of self-understanding. Our friends are good mirrors. It is partly through our friends and the ways in which we relate to them that we form a sense of our own identity. Friendships thrive on mutual esteem, and this can't help but enhance one's own self-esteem as well. Friendship can be revolutionary. The friendship bond is such that friends may band together in loyalty to one another and against an oppressive institution or individual. The friendly coffee group at work may be a place for blowing off steam, and the friendships formed in congregations are places where the revolutionary spirit can be born. It may be the seedbed of an organized effort for better working conditions in the workplace, better social conditions among congregants who bond together with each other and act in the world. Friends can inspire and support each other in all their aspects of their lives, including social activism. The words friend and free, both derive from the Sanskrit root pri, which means to love. In Old English, freo meant free, freon meant to love, and freond meant friend, one who loves freely. As this etymology indicates, friendship has the character of freedom. It is a freely chosen bond, and it can't be forced. Perhaps some of you have discovered how impossible it is to engineer friendship. If you've ever tried, for instance, to bring 2 people together, that you are friends with, people you think would be compatible, only to discover that the friendship you share with each of them separately couldn't be transferred to a friendship between them. Friendship is a freely chosen mutual preference between people for each other. Two of the most seminal thinkers of Western civilization, Plato and Aristotle, held opposing views on friendship and preference. For Plato, friendship may start as a freely chosen preference for a particular person. But true friendship, he said, is infinite and immortal. It expands beyond the attachment to the individual friend to embrace all of humanity and embrace the cosmos itself. This very expansive love, called in Greek agape, is the type of love toward which Christianity and other religions strive. It is selfless love that requires no return. It is given in spite of who we are. Aristotle's ideal of friendship, on the other hand, is preferential. We love a friend because of who the person is, in preference to other people. For Aristotle, this particularity is the truest friendship. As he put it, to be friends with many people, in the sense of perfect friendship, is impossible. Well, I would say that most of us experience friendship as Aristotle described it, rather than as Plato did. A relatively few people from among the multitudes of people we encounter in our lives actually become our friends. An old Chinese proverb says, "There are plenty of acquaintances in the world, but very few real friends." In fact, one recent study indicated that people have an average of 4 people who they describe as true friends. That study was done quite a while ago, and I saw a more recent one that cut that number down to 2 or even 1. I tend to be a bit wary when someone throws the term friend around too casually, as advertisers do when they dilute the word into a meaningless platitude. Fly the friendly skies. You have a friend at our savings and loan. Enjoy the friendly cereal, and so on. You've heard it all. As an old slogan says, a friend to everybody is a friend to nobody. This preferential aspect of friendship makes it vulnerable to change and possibly to dissolution, since we come to prefer people as friends on the basis of qualities that may change as our friend evolves. We're a long way from Plato's ideal of friendship as immortal love. Also, in Plato's ideal friendship, the love doesn't have to be returned. But our experience of friendship, our lived experience, involves mutual affection and esteem. It would make little sense to say, "Mary is my friend," if Mary would not agree that she is. Romantic love certainly can be one-sided, but friendship is not. There is a dark side to friendship, a side which springs from among the less noble parts of ourselves. Yet another survey I came across from Psychology Today conducted an extensive survey quite a few decades ago now. But the study was to determine why some friendships cool off or end. Some of the answers point to this darker side. The most frequent reason given for the ending of a friendship was neither bleak nor surprising. Respondents said, "One of us moved." Great distance are certainly hard on friendships, even the closest ones, although nowadays social media have made long-distance friendships much more common and more able to be nurtured. The second most frequent reason given for friendships ending was, it's a sad one, "I felt my friend betrayed me." The kiss of Judas, apparently, has toppled many a friendship. The ever-present risk in an intimate relationship is that the one whom you have trusted with your deepest secrets can reveal confidences or use them against you. Betrayal may be the saddest reason why friends part. If that particular survey is any indication, it happens rather frequently. Two other answers given often in that survey reveal another bleak side to friendship. One of us, the possible responses you could say, one of us became markedly successful at work, and one of us became much richer. People chose those responses. The culprit here, of course, is that uncomfortable emotion, envy. It can sour even the deepest friendship. Novelist Gore Vidal once said in an honest confession, "Every time a friend succeeds, I die a little." Two more answers chosen frequently in the survey bring to mind Mark Twain's comment. Twain said, "The holy passion of friendship is so sweet and steady and loyal and enduring a nature that it will last a whole lifetime if not asked to lend money." The respondents in this survey said that friendships ended when a friend asked to borrow money or when they asked a friend to lend them money. This issue seems to test the limits of many friendships. The results of this survey of modern friendships and how they end would no doubt disappoint Plato. Our friendships are hardly universal and immortal. Like ourselves, they are less than perfect. As Martin Marty has said, those who are sentimental about friendship have not interviewed enough people. Friends can and do betray each other. They can overstretch the limits of generosity or feel put upon by one another. They can experience twinges of envy over each other's good fortune or competence. Or friendships can simply fade away because of negligence or because people's lifestyles, worldviews, or personalities evolve away from each other. Some of the individuals in my circle of college friends I am no longer in touch with. We drifted apart, as many friendships do. We individually changed, moved away, or attached to other people, and the circle was broken. Nevertheless, during the lonely hours of the pandemic, a couple of them got in touch with me just right out of the blue, seeking connection and the comfort of old ties. Maybe some of you have experienced this phenomenon. I have stayed more in touch with some others from those days, and the chance to have Zoom meetings with these old, far-flung friends has happily renewed some of those old connections. I found these Zoom friends so valuable as we commiserated about the lockdowns and worried about our own health and the health of others with this merciless virus, and we got each other through a very tense presidential election, and we laughed and we cried together. I also found, after I was vaccinated and felt less vulnerable, that I wanted more friends I could physically be with safely, So I decided to actively look for some new local people I could connect to. One path I took was joining a forming neighborhood discussion group, an in-person group, all of us vaccinated. We joined together for discussions on a variety of subjects. This is a small group of people of mixed ages, and we so far seem to have bonded as real friends. All of us can be proactive about looking for and cultivating friendships. And although there is a kind of magic and mystery as to who will actually form that bond with us, we will never find friendship if we don't place ourselves in the paths of other people. A religious community like this one is certainly a good place to start. Although the friendships that we engage in may not be perfect, I believe there is, after all, a little of Plato's agape in the best of them. There is a kind of love between good friends that can transcend the particular relationship to embrace a wider reality. Perhaps you have felt this transcendent quality behind the mutual love of a friendship. Through the special regard you hold for the friend, an inner door is opened, and you feel deepened and expanded. In the genuine meeting between two or more human beings, there is a kind of third self, a third aliveness, a sense of something larger than the individual persons involved. We had an inkling of this transcendent quality within our college group of friends. We even spoke tentatively about this feeling, though we had no term for it. At the time, I didn't know that one theologian, Martin Buber, had built his theology upon the foundation stone of the human meeting. Buber spoke of this as the I-thou encounter, which takes place in a relationship of openness, directness, mutuality, and presence. These are the qualities of a very good friendship. In the I-thou meeting, we catch a glimpse of the eternal, or as Buber might put it, God dwells within the human meeting. Through the spiritual communion of friendship, we come to know ourselves and to feel that we are a part of all that is. Emerson said, "The laws of friendship are eternal, of one web with the laws of nature and of morals." When we love another deeply, we are keenly aware that to hurt someone is to tug at that fragile web which binds us to all people and to the universe itself. And we are reminded that we should hold our friendships and indeed hold all people with tenderness and care. Those of us who have had the good fortune of enjoying intimate friendships know that the risk of losing the friends is far outweighed by the joy of sharing in that unique kind of relationship for as long as it lasts. May your lives be doubly blessed and deepened with the gift of friendship.
Now is the time we invite you to make an offering. This is part of our work to make UUCB a strong and vibrant community. For now, We are conducting the offering in the sanctuary without passing the plate. Instead, you can give electronically through the QR code at the back of your, name thing. Or you can, there's a donation envelope in front, and you can place it outside in the box next to the fountain in the atrium. Each week, half of our offering plate is shared with a good neighbor. This month, our good neighbor is No More Tears. Which is a collaboration between men incarcerated in San Quentin and their community. This program recognizes the unique perspective of incarcerated and formerly incarcerated people and values their ability to restore peace and promote healing. Offerings of any value are received with gratitude. Thank you. Please join me in dedicating our offering. We dedicate our offering and ourselves to the mission of this congregation, to create loving community, inspire spiritual growth, and encourage lives of integrity, joy, and service. And with that, I have a few announcements for you. So I'm so glad we were here today, and we are going to be shifting into coffee hour very soon, but I want to remind you to check out all the things that are happening by exploring our website, uucb.org. There you can find a link to the news in the week, to the week ahead, which is our weekly method of letting you know what's going on and includes a list of activities, announcements, and all the contact information. But there's three that I want to share with you today. First, we are looking for more worship associates. A number of us have finished our commitments this summer, so we have a lot of holes that we are looking to fill. You can write reflections or read meaningful selections provided by the minister. I've done both, and it has been rewarding every time. If you're interested, please contact Reverend Michelle at minister@uucb.org. Next, our coffee hour is now in person outside on the terrace after the service. If you're new, we invite you to use the purple mug for your coffee or tea so that those of us who've been around for a while can know to say like, oh, hello, hi, welcome. And last one, on Sunday, September 4th, the Literature, Film, and Music contingent of the Social Justice Calendar is celebrating National Hispanic Heritage Month. Sandy Portillo Robbins is leading a discussion on the book, The Soul of a Woman, on Zoom at 1 p.m. September 4th. It is totally okay to show up without reading the book beforehand. Please don't let that limit you or stop you from going to there. And now, if you are willing and able, please rise and join us in singing our closing song, We Laugh, We Cry. Oh, hold up.
There's going to be a joyful open house at the Freestone Community Center, 635 Barnett Valley Road, this Saturday with music and food and glorious company.
For those of you who didn't hear, we have another open house at Freestone. All the details are on the website to get the address and time next Saturday, I think. Saturday, cool. All right, so last hymn, We Laugh, We Cry. It's in the gray hymnal, number 354.
To
For closing words, I offer you the words of Goethe. The world is so empty if one thinks only of mountains, rivers, and cities. But to know someone who thinks and feels with me, and who, though distant, is close to me in spirit, this makes the earth for me an inhabited garden. May you go in peace.